So the existing rules say that when you have an account-based pension, you look at the longest life expectancy to determine the deductible amount. But under the new rules, the account balance is assumed to earn a certain amount of income. Okay, so financial assets for a pensioner couple, the first $80,000, the rate that they assume is 2% earnings, and over that the rate is 3.5%. Now that's quite low, but we can compare that to the official cash rate at the moment of 2.5%. So looking at a quick case study to see how this actually works. If we had Lily and Peter, they're 65, they have reversionary pensions that started on 1 July 2014 with a total balance of $500,000. Now Lily is going to live longer, officially. Her life expectancy is 21.62 years, so the deductible amount would be worked out to be $23,000. The minimum they have to draw from these pensions is $25,000. So currently, the Centrelink assessable amount would be $1,800 odd. You can see there. That's under the old rules. Now under the new rules, the deemed income on these account-based pensions would be at least $16,300. Now it depends on the other financial assets that they hold as a couple, because you can see there's the low rate threshold and the higher threshold. So depending what other assets they have, the deemed income may be higher than that. So the reduction to the age pension under the income test would be $18 per fortnight under the old or current rules versus $157 under the new rules. So quite a difference. But the assets test may be the one that applies anyway. Okay, so with age pension, you get the worst result out of what's worked out under the assets test or the income test. So if the income test isn't the one that's hurting you at the moment anyway, if the treatment does change for you, it won't matter anyway, okay? But on the other hand, deeming rates, which are currently quite low, could well go up in the future. Also, deeming thresholds, so the 80,000 at the moment, may reduce in the future, and this is proposed at the moment by the current government. Now, deeming might be preferable for you if you are drawing above the minimum amount or at older ages where the minimum does go up as clients age. But if deeming is preferable, you can always commute and restart a pension. So let's have a look at when grandfathering applies. There's two things that need to be satisfied. The account-based pension must be in place before 1 January 2015, and although it's not 100% clear at the moment, you probably need to take a payment. So we are suggesting that our clients in such a situation take pension payment before 1 January. But that's not enough. You must also be receiving age pension before 1 January. So for reversionary pensions, this grandfathering treatment can continue after death of the first pensioner, but in which case the survivor must be an age pensioner at that time. If you do make a pension reversionary, it can result in a lower deductible amount, but grandfathering can continue, so you've got to trade that off. And that's something we can help you think about. Okay, in terms of Commonwealth Seniors Healthcare Card holders, this change to deem account-based pensions is estimated that about 300,000 self-funded retirees in Australia will be impacted by this change. If you have a Commonwealth Seniors Healthcare Card, you get discounts on medical expenses, cheaper prescriptions, and currently the seniors supplement, although that's proposed to be abolished. But the new rules include deemed income from some account-based pensions, as well as your adjusted taxable income. In order to qualify for grandfathering under these rules, again, the account-based pension must start before 1 January, and you must hold a Commonwealth Seniors Healthcare Card before 1 January. So if you happen to be turning 65 after 31 December, the new rules automatically apply. Now, the period for which you're allowed to be overseas before the card is cancelled has been increased from, or will be increased from 6 weeks to 19 weeks. However, if it is cancelled because of a lengthy overseas absence, then the new rules will apply. So you'll lose your benefit of grandfathering. Next, looking at age pension age. So there's been a lot of discussion about this in the media. So it's already legislated that the age pension age will increase to 67. You can see that. And it's proposed that further increases will take place. So it's proposed that it will increase by 6 months every 2 years, starting from 1 July 2025. So by 1 July 2035, the age pension age would be 70. And 70 would apply for people born from 1 January 1966 onwards. Now, there's not actually proposed legislation at the moment, but we can see that it's quite possible the preservation age will also increase in tandem with the age pension age. So it's typically about 5 years younger than the age pension age, the preservation age. Briefly looking at a change to aged care, these changes have come in from 1 July 2014. So for people entering aged care from 1 July, there's been a removal of the high versus low care distinction. Instead of accommodation bonds, there's now what's known as refundable accommodation deposits. And if you paid your RAD, so-called, not entirely up front, you may have to pay a daily accommodation payment, or DAP, in relation to any unpaid amount of RAD. So there's a whole lot of new acronyms to get to know. But there has been a removal of retention payments, which is a good change. And another really positive change is that homes now have to publish their fees, which makes it easier for an individual or their friends and relatives to help find a home for that person, because it's easier to tell, you know, what can be afforded and what might be within the price range, etc. So within an aged care facility, there's now basic daily fees, means tested fees, and there's daily accommodation payments potentially applying. The means tested fee is determined by income and assets now. Previously, it was only income that was relevant. Now for these fees, the means tested fees, there's annual and lifetime caps. Really quickly, looking at another recent development that we've looked into for a couple of our clients, Project Do It, an initiative of the ATO. This was announced in March 2014, and it's essentially an amnesty period for clients to come forward ahead of a global crackdown on people using international tax havens and disclose any previously undisclosed offshore income or assets. And Do It stands for Disclose Offshore Income Today. Now the deadline's rapidly approaching for that. It's 19 December 2014. The benefit of participating in this initiative is to avoid stiff penalties, possible criminal investigation, and a full audit of your tax affairs. So instead of which there's lower penalties, the ATO will only look at 4 prior years of your tax affairs, and avoid that potential criminal investigation for non-disclosure. And that's all I had to cover today.
Thanks, Nicole.